This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
The latest ag news and the voice of Georgia farmers. It's who we are. It is what we do. So glad you tuned in to another edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. As always, we've got another great show in store for you today. Coming up, travel with us as we head to Albany for the annual Georgia Peanut Tour. Damon Jones on one of the biggest obstacle growers are facing.
Plus, if you've got some extra apples laying around, boy, do we have some incredible recipes for you in the latest installment of Meals from the Field.
And then later, as Sunbelt Expo gets ready to celebrate the Big 4-0, we hear from Executive Director Chip Blaylock on its rich history and why it continues to be one of the premier ag shows in the country. It's all coming up on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Each and every year, peanut producers from around the world attend the Georgia Peanut Tour to get an update on the industry. Damon Jones also made the trip to Lee County and tells you why farmers are so optimistic about this year's crop.
From the fields to the buying points to the research facilities, Georgia takes great pride in producing some of the highest quality peanuts in the world. And those in attendance for the annual Georgia Peanut Tour got an up-close look at each aspect of the industry, which demonstrates all the hard work that goes into production.
I think they've got to understand that to know what the quality is that they're dealing with. And so the field, they get to see that the farmer is out here really working hard to do the best that he can and deliver the best thing when it goes on the wagon out of the field. And then at every step of the process, we're doing the best we can so that we don't do something to impact quality and make it go backwards.
And one of the stops along the way was Israel Farms in Smithville, where they got a chance to hear from researchers and farmers about some of the issues they are facing.
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. You know, we need to have more tours like this to educate people more on what's going on in farming.
And the biggest of the problems these farmers are facing is not a new one.
Mainly weeds. Mainly weeds. Pigweed is our biggest problem, and it always will be from now on until they get a herbicide or something that will control pigweed. Weather is always can be a problem, but we've had pretty good weather this year.
This despite the hurricane that rolled through this area just a few weeks ago. However, while it did damage the cotton and pecan crops, it was actually beneficial to the peanuts.
You know, other than we had a month that we had a little bit of a drought, then this rain came in with Hurricane Irma and actually made it where we can get the crop dug, and it's going to finish filling out some peanuts. So we're kind of excited about the condition of the crop this year. The crop has really looked pretty good all year long. Farmers have done a really great job of being able to use irrigation for what it was meant for, and that's to supplement, not to produce. The
peanut crop so far looks good. It does. We started off a little dry, and we had some dry weather in May, but since then, we've had decent rainfall. We've been fortunate this year.
And that timely rain has farmers looking forward to what is projected to be a record-breaking peanut harvest for the state. It's also a testament not only to the hard work these farmers put in, but also the importance of these tours.
You know, the thing we want the farmers to do is to, you know, maybe pick up something from a neighbor that can help them tweak a little something, because you can't just sit still. You've got to get better every day.
And that's exactly what Georgia farmers have had to do, as they are responsible for more than half of the peanut production in the U.S., despite seeing the number of farmers dwindle over the years.
When I came to Peanut Commission, we had about 14,000 farmers. We got 3,400 farmers left, and they are really professional producers. And it's a joy to be able to work with folks like that. And our farmers just get better every year.
Reporting from Lee County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
In other ag news, after years of decline, there's some good news on the farm income front. According to American Farm Bureau, recent projections suggest that while farm income may have hit rock bottom in 2016, there will be an uptick in both net farm and net cash income in 2017. American Farm Bureau Federation Chief Economist Dr. Bob Young says livestock sales are driving the slight increase.
It is just kind of a minor bump, but is a bump as opposed to continuing to fall. The livestock side really drove most of that increase. The crop revenue side, crop receipts are effectively flat 2017 relative to 2016. Give me a weather forecast and I'll give you a farm income forecast at this stage of the game. We've got some of the strongest demand we've ever had, but we've also got some of the strongest production that we've ever had. So probably take a little bit of a production pullback in order for prices to really pop, but wouldn't take much of a production pullback for that to happen.
Every year, beef producers from across the state participate in a program called Georgia Beef Challenge.
Yeah, Kenny, now in its 26th year, the program allows Georgia cattle producers to gain information on the health, performance, and carcass merit of their cattle. The Monitor's John Holcomb has the story.
Here at the Double Bridges farm in Winterville, it was a very busy morning as producer after producer dropped off their cattle. This is just one of many loads that will be taken out west for the 2017-2018 Georgia Beef Challenge.
The Georgia Beef Challenge is basically it's a extension program where producers across the state can get involved in the entire beef industry from the ground up.
The program was started back in 1991. Since its beginning, more than 30,000 head of cattle have come through the program. After completion, very valuable information is given back to the producers.
I really like the Georgia Beef Challenge. I think it's a really good program. Very beneficial to my producers. I try to encourage them to take part in it because at the very least they're going to get back some much needed data on the carcass quality of the cattle they're raising. So it really lets them know whether or not they're on the right track as far as their genetics goes.
So beneficial, it brings producers like Mr. Whitey Hunt, a producer in Madison, Georgia, back year after year.
I know we've done this, it'd be at least the 17th time. I think we've probably done it more like 20 times and done it for a long time.
After being unloaded, the cattle are run through the chutes that can be weighed and identified. They are then loaded onto a transfer truck like this one, where they make a 15-hour journey to a feedlot in Lewis, Iowa. After about 90 days in the lot, the cattle are harvested and information like growth performance, carcass merit, and economics on the cattle are sent back.
The amount of information that we get back from this program is almost overwhelming, but it's well worth to see how your calves end up, how well they gain in the feedlot, and how well they grade.
They're going to get feedback on the quality grade of their animal, of how well that animal marbled, the yield of their cattle, and basically they're going to figure out if the genetics that they're producing in their herd is actually really yielding the kind of product on the rail and ultimately on the consumer's plate.
The information isn't just helpful to that herd's producer. The information ends up helping all of those involved with the cattle industry statewide, no matter how big of an operation they have.
That information helps everybody in the state. It helps all beef cattle producers, not only those that ship, but all those that's maybe sell on a local level. They're going to get more notoriety for their cattle because we have ended up improving the overall reputation of Georgia cattle through this program.
One of the unique things about the Georgia Beef Challenge is it's a program that can work for any producer in the state. If you look at our beef cattle industry in Georgia, our average size is approximately 25 to 30 head of cattle. And so if we look at how we typically market cattle in truckload lots, or we shoot for truckload lots, that's not available for those producers. So this program actually allows them, whether it's 1 head or 50 head, they can consign these animals so that they can then take that data to go back to their farm and make their decisions.
Reporting in Winterville for the Georgia Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Thank you, John. Well, you know the old saying, an apple a day helps keep the doctor away. But today, we're not talking just some ordinary old apple. We're talking incredible recipes, including apples. Meals from the field when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. All right, welcome back to the Georgia Farm Monitor and to another edition of Meals from the Field. If you haven't noticed, this month we are celebrating Apple Month. Joining me as always, my dear friend and partner in crime, Marcia Crowley. Good to see you again, Marcia. And when did we say exactly apple season started? Usually beginning of August is when it starts?
This should be the peak.
Right.
and goes through may go through December, depending on the variety.
Right, okay, and of course, so today we are talking about apples, and we have got some great recipes, which doesn't surprise me because Marcia somehow always comes up with great recipes every month. We talk on the phone, we kind of stress out, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
What are we going to do? And you always come up with these great recipes,
well,
so what do we have today?
All right, the first thing we're going to do is an apple bread pudding. I don't know why bread pudding just sounds really good to me.
It's a southern thing, I think.
Yeah, and this is 4 cups of soft breadcrumbs that have been cubed. We're going to add to it 1/4 cup of raisins, which if you don't like raisins, you could leave them out. I mean, a lot of people don't like raisins. 1/2 cup of chopped Georgia pecans. You can always add more if you want. And about 4 Georgia apples, a good cooking apple like a Granny Smith or something like that. Basically anything but a Red Delicious. That
I was going to
doesn't
ask
cook
you,
well.
could you use a Red Delicious apple?
Basically they don't cook that well.
They don't cook that well.
Get kind of mealy. All right, we're just going to combine this.
And
really
you can
good.
leave the skin on, or do you take the skin off?
That's a matter of preference.
Okay.
I kind of left it on so you knew there were apples in there instead of like potatoes or.
Right.
If that's a green potato, don't eat it.
That's something I would do, would accidentally put potatoes in there.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, I don't think you'd do that, right?
Not with your
right.
supervision.
We're going to add to that, we've cooked melted brown sugar and butter and milk and a little bit of vanilla. You're going to stir all that up together. Get all these dishes out of the way. That's the only thing about cooking is the cleanup.
Right.
And the dishes. And of course we have to try to make it great. All right, we've mixed all that up. We're going to pour that into a casserole dish. Let's see if I can do this without breaking everything. This is really good. It would be good for breakfast.
Notice whenever you pour into glass, you don't ask me to do that.
Well, I was afraid I'd have to stand on my head to get you over here to do it. All right, let's move that. All right, once you've got that in your casserole dish, you're going to combine 2 eggs, which we've got here, 3/4 cup of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Going to mix that all up. And that's going to be poured over the bread pudding. Then you're going to bake this for about 40 minutes.
That's kind of the same concoction that you make for French toast, too.
Well, it is. I mean, it could be a French toast casserole. Very good. I'm glad you thought of that, Ray. And you're just going to bake this for, like I said, 40 minutes. I've made it a couple of times, and 40 minutes seems to be the magic number. And then you serve it with a sauce of brown sugar, milk, and more vanilla. But you serve that on the side.
Very nice. And there you see the finished product.
Like I said, that would be good for breakfast. French toast is a great. Absolutely. Let's rename it.
Ray's French Toast Special.
Ray's French Toast. All right, the next thing.
What's next?
These are pork chops.
Action? Pork, the other white meat, is that what they say?
That's what they say. These pork chops are just seasoned with chili powder, salt, and pepper, but you can adjust it any way you want to. Okay. And they've just been browned in a frying pan. Let me turn this on. You take them out of the frying pan. Might help if I push that. You take them out of the frying pan and put them in a casserole dish. You're going to bake them for about 10 minutes until they're done.
Okay.
You just browned them. All right, while those are cooking, this is 2 tablespoons of butter. You're going to add to it 2 cups of sliced apples. And what you want to do with that, and we probably don't have the time to do that, is you just want to saute these until they get tender, about 10 minutes.
Little brown.
Little brown, caramelized. You're going to add to that more cinnamon. Apples and cinnamon just really go together.
You can't go wrong with it.
And once those start to get soft, like I said, like about 10 minutes, you're going to add to that 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Just pretend that that's done. And you would serve that over the pork chops once they're done.
Right.
And I think we have the finished over
We've
there.
taken a look at the finished product there, and look at that. Is that like a little apple
I think
swan?
that's a little swan.
We
Holly
gotta give
did that.
Holly credit.
Holly's
yes.
so good at that.
She is very, very good at stuff like that and very creative. And as you see, folks, just some of the many uses of the incredible apple. And again, Marcia always come up with these great recipes. And you can find these recipes by logging on to gfb.org/recipes. As always, Marcia sends that stuff into us every month. We put it up there on the web, and people just enjoy it.
Hope they use them.
Yeah, and we do. We get a lot of comments from people. So, Marcia, as always, thank you so
Ray.
much. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next month.
Ray and Marcia, thank you so much. Now, here's a reminder. If you missed any part of today's recipes or other stories on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, the Georgia Farm Monitor. Now, once there, feel free to browse the archive of stories all the way back to 2009. While you're there on the web, keep clicking and don't forget to like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or the address there on the screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. When we come back, 40 years and counting. And that's not the only milestone the Sunbelt Ag Expo will celebrate next month. We sit down with the man responsible for the big birthday bash. That is next. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Paul Pugliese with the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. Today we're going to talk about soil testing. Soil testing is one of the most important things you can do before you plant a garden, if you're taking care of a lawn, or before you design a landscape around your home. Soil testing tells you what the nutrients are going to be in your soil and what the pH is. The pH is a measure of the acidity of that soil and whether or not you need to add limestone to adjust that soil pH. I would emphasize that pH is something that a lot of people tend to overlook. And the reason why is that pH is so important to make sure that you have the right pH to unlock the nutrients in your soil. I always say that the right pH is like having the right key to start your car or start that fertilizer in your soil. If you don't have the right key or the right pH, you're wasting your time and money on fertilizer. There are a couple of different tools you can use to sample your soil in your garden or in your lawn. Your local county extension office a lot of times will have a T-probe that you can check out for a couple of days. This is one of the more accurate ways to test the soil. If you have a large farm or a lot of acreage that you need to soil, this is really the best way to sample your soil. The other way is to take a shovel. You can actually use a spade or a shovel in your garden. It's very important that you sample in a way that's similar to the T-probe that we have here. Notice that the T-probe makes a nice vertical slice into the ground. What you don't want to do is make a cut right off the surface, because that's going to skew the results of your soil test. So when you pull a sample, make sure you dig into the ground, pull back that soil a little bit, and then again make a nice vertical cut of that soil, and then put that into your bucket, okay? Now the next question is, well, how deep do we need to go? It depends. For most lawns, you only need to go 4 or 5 inches deep. For vegetable gardens, you need to go down to your plow depth, which may be 6 to 8 inches deep. So again, the depth is going to vary depending on the situation. With a T-probe, you can see this T-probe actually goes in about 4 or 5 inches deep is all we need for a lawn, and we put it into the bucket and go on to our next spot. It's really important when you're sampling that you sample at several spots, maybe a dozen spots at random across your entire lawn or across your garden, depending on what you're sampling. The more spots you pull from, the more accurate the results are going to be, because what we're looking for is an average across that entire lawn. If you did a really good job taking your soil sample, you'll have about a half a bucket full if you did it right. And you want to mix that up really good. Again, we're trying to get an average. And from that mixture, you want to pull out any rocks. You know, we can't test rocks. And any sticks that might be in there. And get a nice uniform mixture there. Again, the more you mix it, the more accurate your results are going to be. And then you put your sample into your soil test bag. You need about a half a bag full. If you don't have one of these bags from your local county extension office, you can use a Ziploc bag to bring it to your local county extension agent. Make sure you put all your information on here and what you're trying to grow. If you're growing vegetables, put vegetables on here. If you're growing a lawn, put Bermuda grass or fescue, whatever your lawn type is, and we'll customize the results based on what you're trying to grow. So for more information, Contact your local county extension office or go to our website at ugaextension.org and continue to follow us on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Finally today, look who's turning the big 4-0.
Yeah, not us. That came and went a long time ago. It's the Sunbelt Ag Expo, which is set for October 17th through the 19th. Executive Director Chip Blaylock has been there for over half of them, and as you can tell, he's ready to celebrate.
You know, it's really exciting to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Sunbelt Ag Expo, the 75th anniversary of the Spence Field, which is the air base that we hold the show on every year, and the 28th anniversary of the Farmer of the Year program, Swisher Sweet Sunbelt Expo Southeastern Farmer of the Year program. This adds some added excitement to the show this year as we get ready to open the gates on October 17th, 18th, and 19th to welcome the world to the Sunbelt Ag Expo. You know, this will be my 21st show this year, and it's really been a blessing to have been a part of so many shows, over half of the shows. And that's really hard to believe, but we have such an outstanding staff here at the show throughout the year in the office and the farm crew. And then our staff actually expands to about 175 during the show, and that includes parking, forklifts, shipping and receiving, field demos, registration help in the office, and the list goes on and on. We showed computers in 1983. We had the first transgenic double crop of wheat and canola in 1997. We started showing the GPS systems and the variable rate fertilizer application in the late 90s. All of that naturally is staples on the farm today. And that's what we pride ourselves on, not only at the farm show, but on our research farm, to try and true the technology so when it gets in the farmers' hands, we work with the company researchers and the university researchers to make sure that technology is ready to go to work for them. And we're looking forward to hosting 1,200 exhibitors and thousands of friends from all over the world. You know, one thing that sets us apart is our field demonstrations in the fields, where we have the harvesting demonstrations in peanuts, soybeans, and cotton. The most popular demonstrations are hay demos. You can see 10 round hay balers running side by side. You can also see tillage demonstrations. You can see the John Deere ATV driving range. Inside the grounds, you've got 3 truck test tracks with Chevy and GMC, Ram Commercial, and Toyota. The one thing that can help you plan your trip to the Sunbelt Ag Expo is getting a hold of our show program, which is online, www.sunbeltexpo.com, or our mobile app, Sunbelt Ag Expo 2017, at your App Store or Droid Store. That app and that show program, which are one and the same, can help you plan your trip to the expo. You can see all the demonstrations, whether it be in the field demos or the cattle demos, dairy, horses, sheep and goats, catfish, poultry, the list goes on. And scope out the 1,200 exhibitors, see which ones that you want to take in, and actually map out your trip before you get here, so when you come to the expo, you're ready to hit the ground running and know what you want to see via the pre-show planning using the app and the program.
And the monitor will be there. Looking forward to it. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening out on the farm. Be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.